Good day, everyone. Once again, we're back together. All right, and we're still continuing on trig equations. In this case, I'm going to be looking at ones involving more than one trig function. So if you haven't subscribed, please just make sure that you're part of the family. And for those of you, of course, who need assistance with mathematics or physical science, you're more than welcome to get in touch with us, and our email address is info@mlungisinkosi.co.za. And please like and share. We're going to just make sure that we give you as many opportunities of learning as possible. All right, so let's get right into our lesson. So sometimes in equations, okay, so if we've got something like the sine of x is equal to the cos of x. Right, so how would we solve something like this? All right, so now when we've got the same angle on both sides, okay, so we've got x and x on both sides, it might be whatever else that is there. So what we simply do is that we can just simply convert this by dividing on both sides by the cos of x. Okay, so I can divide this by cos of x, and of course on the right hand side I'll have a 1, but on the left hand side, what's sine x over cos x? Of course this is going to be the tan of x, and in this case we're simply going to say we know that the arctan of 1 rather, this would give us, of course you'd put this in your calculator, but as you would know from special angles, that would be, it means x would be 45 degrees. But remember, in this case, the general solution for 10, in this case, you would have plus k 180, where k is an element of integers. Okay. All right. Yeah, so this is how you always convert it into sine and cos, but please, you just need to make sure that you've got the same angle on either side. Now, let's take another example that I'd like to show you. Right, now let's look at the next example. So you've got the sine of x is equal to the cos of 3x rather. So now you can note that the angles in this case are not the same. So how do we then deal with that? This is where we're going to exploit the relationship of co-ratios. Okay, so you can either convert one of them to become cos or sine. In this case, let me just do this. It's just going to be easier for me. Sine of x, remember this is equal to cos of 90 minus x. And so this will be equal to the cos of 3x. Now it's easy, of course, once I get them to have the same angle, the same co-ratio, the same ratio rather, or trig function on the same side, on either side. So in this case, I'm going to have cos of 90 minus x is equals to cos of 3x. So I've got cos and cos on either side. So I can now drop the angles, right? But now what you must keep in mind, remember when we said you give the general formula, so it means 90 minus x is equal to, now I'm going to say because it's cos, it's plus or minus 3x, all right, plus k 360, and please keep in mind that this is going to be k is an element of integers. Now, of course, all that's left for us to do is just simply to work out. Okay, so so I've got 90 minus x. Let's start with the first one. Is equal to positive 3x. Okay, so I'll have 90 minus x is equals to positive 3x. Okay, plus k 360. Right, so let's try to solve that. So you end up with, if you take x to the other side, you end up with 4x is equal to 90. I'm sure quite a number of you prefer to work with x or the variable on the left hand side. I prefer it. Okay, so 4x is equals to 90 plus k 360, and of course we can divide both sides by 4. So I end up with x is equal to, so that's 90 divide by 4. Okay, so that's going to be 22.5. But remember, once I divide by 4, it means I need to give also our repetition. Also, I need to divide that by 4. So that's 360 divided by 4, and that will give me, let's see that's going to give me 90. Okay, plus k 90. All right, so that's our first solution. Or, okay, I don't have enough space. I would have actually done them side by side. Or 90 minus x would be equal to minus 3x. Okay, I don't know why I keep making that mistake. Right, so that's minus 3x. But remember, this is plus 360k, right? So if I take x to the other side, you've got 90 is equal to, if I take x to the other side, I'm left with minus 2x, okay, plus 360k. And so it means that x, in this case, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. Okay, if I divide by negative 2, therefore I've got x is equal to, so that cancels with that. So x would be minus 45. Okay, but remember, I've divided by 2 in this case, so therefore it becomes plus 180k. All right, where k is an element of integers. Keep that in mind. Okay, right, and essentially that is how the cookie crumbles. So in this case, just keep in mind, we always try to get them to have the same trig ratios, okay, on either side, and then we can drop the ratios and equate the angles, okay, and as a result we can solve. All right, so let's take another one just quickly. All right, so looking at the next one, okay, so once again you've got angles that are not the same. Okay, so what are we going to do once again? Of course, we're going to rely on co-ratios, right? So in this case, you can either convert sine to cos, or you can convert cos to sine. But remember, when it comes to not special angles, rather, when it comes to general formulae, remember that you solve them differently when it comes to the one for sine and the one for cos. Right, so let me convert this one to cos of, all right, so this is going to be 90 minus x plus 20. Okay, in fact, let me just make that into a big bracket, okay, so that you are able to see that. Okay, so this is equal to the cos of 2x minus 30. So let's try to solve what's within the bracket first. So this is going to be cos of, so if I look at that, 90 minus 20, so that would give me 70 minus x. So this is what I would end up with on the left hand side, and this would be cos of 2x minus 30. Okay, so essentially now I've got both ratios the same. So in this case, I can now drop down the ratios. So 70 minus x is equal to, now please remember, this is going to be plus or minus 2x minus 30. Okay, and of course this means plus k 360. Of course, if you had chosen to convert both of them into sine, you would have of course the first solution, but the other one would be 180 minus. Okay, perhaps I'll look at that a little later on. All right, so that you know what to do when you've got sine. All right, so now we've got 70 minus x is plus minus 2x minus 30. So let's solve the first one. I'm sure you know how the cookie crumbles from here. So you've got 70 minus x is equal to 2x minus 30. Okay, plus k 360. I did not actually specify that k is an element of integers there. Okay, so in this case, you end up with, okay, let's try and get, so this will be 3x, okay, if I take all the variables on the same side. Okay, so that will be 3x. If I take 70 to the other side, in fact, that will be 70 plus 30, so that will be 100, okay, plus K360. Of course, I expect most of you to be able to solve from here on. Okay, so we divide that by 3 on either side, in fact, all of it by 3. So in this case, we've got x is equals to, this would be 33.3, depending on how you are rounding off, whether to 2 or 1 decimal, depending on the instruction of the examiner. Sorry, this would be plus, we divided by 3, so this would be K 120. Okay, so that would be K 120. Okay, right, so that would be your first solution, but the next one would be 70 minus x would be equal to minus 2x minus 30, okay, plus K 360. Okay, so we'd have 70 minus x, which is equals to minus 2x plus 30 plus K 360. Okay, and let's try to solve that. If I take 2x to the other side, it becomes positive, so I end up with x. Okay, so 2x minus x would become x, and if I take 70 to the other side, it becomes negative, so that would be negative 70 plus 30, and that would be minus 40, okay, plus K 360. Okay, and please keep in mind that k is an element of integers. All right, so that is how you're going to solve it. Now, just for those of you who might have preferred to convert to sine, let me just quickly write it out. So this is sine of x plus 20, which was equal to the cos of 2x minus 30. Okay, so what you could have done was to convert to sine both the ratios on left hand and right hand side to the sine. Okay, so in this case, this would have been sine of 90 minus 2x minus 30. Okay, so this is how you could have solved it. In fact, this looks quite clumsy over here. Let's fix it. All right, so this is how you could have decided to do it. And in this case, when you drop down, your ratios, if you drop down the sign, on either side, you've got sine. So that would have been x plus 20 is equal to 90 minus, okay, let me try and solve this. So 90 minus 30, that would have been 110. Okay, so what you could have done is to say that's 110, 110 minus 2x, okay? But just keep in mind, so this is plus K 360, but because you're dealing with sine now, of course you'd solve this. The other one would be x plus 20 is equal to, now you keep in mind, it would be 180 minus that 110 minus 2x, okay, plus K 360. I can assure you, if you try to solve this, of course you can continue solving for this. I know you are mathematicians, so you should be able to get this right. You'll see that the answer that you get to is exactly what we had over there. All right, so I want to leave it there. Okay, so the last part that we will be tackling in our next episode would be looking at solving equations that involve double angles in this case, and that would be it when it comes to solving equations. And we go to graphs, and we'll be wrapping up trigonometry rather. So in this case, it's yeah, that's it from me for now, and I'll see you guys next time. Please don't forget to subscribe. Please like and share, Tell as many people about the channel. Okay, yeah, just hit that subscribe button. Do it now. All right, and I'll see you guys next time. Sharp, sharp.